From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
All right, folks, good morning. Happy Thursday. It's the end of the week. And so almost. Tomorrow's Friday. Today's Thursday. It's the last day I do the Practitioner Brief. Before we get started, though, I want to ask you to please subscribe to our podcast. I do appreciate your support. Your support is what helps keep this podcast going. By you subscribing to our podcast, you let people know that you value our content, and you let people know that it's worth listening, and it also helps us in acquiring sponsors and being able to continue to deliver this to you. So make sure you do that. You can find our Practitioner Brief on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com. Also, make sure to check out one of our great sponsors, including KnowBe4, who's been a great supporter of our shows, and definitely worth giving them a shout out here this morning. I want to get right into today's Practitioner Brief. We have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. Patch Tuesday was on Tuesday, and yesterday we had a whole patch thing, and today we have more patch stuff going on. We also have some stories that are and vulnerabilities that really do impact us as practitioners, and even those who are in the vendor sector of cyber, beyond just what we typically do. Let's get right into what's going on today. Some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. SAP is patching several critical vulnerabilities. Google patches 2 more Chrome 0 days that have been exploited. The Silver Peak SD-WAN bug is allowing network takeover, and the Ragnar Locker ransomware gang takes out Facebook ads in a new TTP tactic. So here's where, let's get started with SAP, who have released 19 new and updated security notes. 6 of the notes have been assigned as hot news, aka critical, including 4 new notes and 2 previously released patches that were also updated. One of the hot news patches resolves a total of 4 vulnerabilities related to missing authentication checks in Solman, which provides a central management interface for SAP and non-SAP systems. An unauthenticated attacker could exploit these flaws. They are tracked as CVE 2020-26821, 26822, 26823, and 26824. SAP also updated a previous hot news security note that addressed a missing authentication check in Solman as well. There's also another patch for SAP data services that, if not patched, could impact Apache struts, aka Equifax. Exploitation could lead to remote code execution and denial of service. You can see the rest of the list, including the links to the CVEs and where to go to get the patches for SAP if you don't know how to get them and you've got SAP systems implemented. It's very important to look at this also downstream within your supply chain. If you don't have an inventory of your critical supply chain partners and you don't know whether or not they're using this, it's a great tool. It's something that I'm now really spreading across our organization, across our third-party team, which is we need an inventory of our key vendors, not every single one of them, obviously, but who we identify as those who have access to critical data, and then what software, what SaaS solutions they're using, and then looking at that and having this inventory in place. So when patching does go on, we give ourselves 3-4 days to do things on our end, but then we start reaching out to our key partners and their security teams and ensuring that they're aware of these patches, ensuring that they're patching it if there's a delay, if there's anything like that, so that we're able to identify any weaknesses within our supply chain and within our software chain and address those, whether it be with increased controls and different things that we can put in place. So just keep that in mind. When we talk about patches and vulnerability, we always look internal, but we're never looking across. And today's business is supported by so many people, and it's supported by so many different organizations that use all kinds of different tools to support our business and succeeding and being able to do business. And so it's critical to identify those key partners and really have that relationship. It's something, that's why I do CISO Talk. I have relationships with my other CISOs. So when stuff like this happens, I can pick up the phone, I can shoot them an email, and we can have a frank conversation, and we can mitigate the risk for each other and help each other maintain a high level of security and address any weaknesses together without really putting each other under the risk. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for one another. Google patches 2 more Chrome zero-day exploits. Google has credited Anonymous for reporting the flaws. It's unclear if the same or it's 2 different anonymous individuals. It's not shared any of that information. Both security holes have been rated high severity. One of them, CVE 2021-6013, has been described as an inappropriate implementation issue affecting the V8 JavaScript engine, while the other is CVE 2020-16017 is a use after free bug related to site isolation. Google has released a new update for this, and this flaw is now taken care of. So just make sure you update your Chrome browsers. Silver Peak SD-WAN bug allows for network takeover. So Silver Peak's Unity Orchestrator, a software-defined WAN management platform, suffers from 3 remote code execution security bugs that can be chained together to allow for a network takeover by an unauthenticated attacker. The SD-WAN, which is a cloud-based networking approach used by enterprise and multi-location businesses of all sizes. It allows locations and cloud instances to be connected to each other and to company resources over any type of connectivity, and it applies software controls to managing that process, including the orchestration of resources and nodes. This orchestration is usually centralized via a single view platform, in this case the Unity Orchestrator, which Silver Peak said has about 2,000 different deployments. According to researchers from the Real Mode Labs, the 3 bugs are an authentication bypass, file delete path traversal, and an arbitrary SQL query execution, which can be combined in order to execute arbitrary code. The entire detail of this is available on our website, but and you know, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's fairly long, and I want to be sensitive of time. So attackers would first bypass authentication, they'd log into the platform, then look for a file being run by the web server, then they'd delete it using the file delete path traversal issue, replacing it with one of their choice using an SQL query execution, and then that's all that's needed to execute the file to run any code or malware they would like on the network. This does have some serious issues. The CVE is 2021-2145. There are several ways to deal with this, according to the folks over at, I'm Silver Peak. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's one of those mornings, folks. And so you can find all that information on our website, again, cyberhubpodcast.com. Let's talk about this last one, which is a really big one. The Ragnar Locker ransomware gang, which took out Facebook ads in a new tactic. So the Ragnar Locker ransomware group has decided to ratchet up its pressure on high-profile victims, including Italian liquor conglomerate Campari. It took out Facebook ads threatening to release 2 terabytes of sensitive data it stole in a November 3rd attack unless $15 million in ransom is paid in Bitcoin. Campari has acknowledged the ransomware attack. It's a new spin here, folks. They're taking ads essentially saying, we've got your data. This company's got your data, but it's not paying us for it. If you don't want us to put this online, make sure they pay us $15 million in Bitcoins. Where's Facebook on this? I mean, really? Where's Facebook? Why are these ads running? But apparently for the dollar, they don't really care. Apparently, you know, in Goodbye Privacy, my other podcast, I often talk about Facebook actually being one of the more reasonable big tech companies, but, you know, I may have to revise my opinion on this, folks. You can catch my Goodbye Privacy podcast, by the way, on Rumble. I go live once a week there. You can tune in and just hang out. We talk about privacy issues. We always got a topic. Very interesting. If you want to do that, go to rumble.com. Look up the CyberHub podcast and join for one of my Goodbye Privacy things. Got Goodbye Privacy episodes, not things. That's it for us here today, guys. Veteran November, another great episode coming today. We'll have a lot more coming up Also, on Monday, yesterday was Veterans Day, so thank you to our veterans. We had a very special Veterans Day yesterday. Gary Hayslip, and our second part of our audio podcast is released today, folks. And so make sure you tune in to that. Until then, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back with a lot more then. Until then, stay safe and stay cyber safe, folks.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.